Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the Maritime Pollution Control and Vessel Resource Requisitioning Regulations. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Maritime regulations sounds like a serious mouthful of dense legal jargon, right? But stick with me because we're going to see exactly how these rules actually form an incredibly empowering, highly organized blueprint for protecting our waters.
Instead of looking at these regulations as just a bunch of strict, gloomy rules and punishments, we really want to visualize this as an optimistic, active action plan. It's totally a blueprint for teamwork and clean oceans. It's this brilliant system where literally everyone, from top government officials down to local port managers and private ship owners, has a critical, clearly defined part to play. We are visualizing a bright, functional framework that makes our oceans cleaner and safer.
All right, so here is our agenda for today. We're breaking this down into four main areas. First up, the Clean Seas Blueprint. Then, all hands on deck. Third is ports as green hubs. And finally, setting the rules. We're covering the whole shebang here, from rapid crisis response to the meticulous frameworks that keep our maritime environments totally pristine. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, the Clean Seas Blueprint. This is all about shared responsibility.
So, the foundational idea behind these maritime regulations isn't about pointing fingers after a disaster strikes. No, it's all about upfront coordination. These sections of the law take something highly complex and establish a brilliantly clear system. We're talking about turning dense law into a truly actionable blueprint, where the central government, local port authorities, and private vessel owners collaborate completely seamlessly. The law visualizes exactly who does what, basically removing all the confusion and replacing it with a bright, organized strategy.
Moving right along to Section 2, all hands on deck. Let's talk about crisis mobilization.
Think about it for a second. How do we actually mobilize resources in a crisis? When a pollution incident happens out there in coastal waters, time is absolutely of the essence. How does the government instantly rally the necessary ships and tools to help contain and clean up the water without getting bogged down in endless red tape?
Well, the answer is found under Section 139 of the regulations. The government uses a powerful tool called requisitioning. Now, wait, it's really important to understand that this isn't some punitive seizure of a person's property. Not at all. Rather, it is a swift, official written order directing Indian vessels or equipment to step up and provide pollution control assistance. It's basically a rapid, all-hands-on-deck mobilization of local resources, jumping into action for the greater good.
And this brilliantly illustrates that teamwork aspect we just talked about. It's a straightforward three-step process. First, the government issues the written order. Second, the vessel steps up and provides the necessary assistance. And third, the owner is legally entitled to compensation. The law actually ensures they're paid fair tariff rates for freight and charter hire based on reasonable current market conditions. And hey, if there's ever a dispute, the central government steps in to examine accounts and witnesses to make sure the rate is perfectly fair. It's a beautifully balanced, cooperative system.
But get this, it doesn't stop at just private vessels. Under these rules, the Director General has a massive call to action at their disposal. Beyond ships, they can actually requisition officers of the central government, personnel from other organizations, police officers, and even specialized pollution prevention equipment. It basically guarantees that when a response is needed, there is absolutely no shortage of hands, expertise, or gear on the front lines.
All right, let's head back to shore for Section 3, ports as green hubs. These are our vital guardians.
We are looking at a highly dynamic partnership here. On one side, you've got the ports. Their job is to execute the heavy lifting. They are required to provide the physical reception facilities, surveillance, supervision, and waste handling based on global pollution conventions. Then, on the other side, you have the central government. They're the directors. They mandate exactly what the ports must do. They notify the rates and conditions that ports can actually charge for using these facilities, and of course, they enforce overall compliance.
Let's break down what those ports are doing with all that heavy lifting. They're tasked with vessel waste lifecycle management. Basically, any waste or residue generated during a vessel's operation, repair, or recycling doesn't just get dumped. Absolutely not. It must go through 4 vital steps. It's collected, handled, treated, and ultimately disposed of in a safe and environmentally sound manner. This entire cycle is meticulously designed to protect both human health and the marine ecosystem.
But you might be wondering, what happens if a port simply isn't up to the task? Well, the law has a built-in safety net. If a port lacks the adequate facilities to meet these critical pollution conventions, the central government steps right in. They will issue a formal written order demanding the port authority build or arrange for these facilities. And if the port fails to comply with that order,
Boom. They are held liable to strict penalties under the Act. So accountability is baked right into the blueprint.
Which brings us to Section 4, Setting the Rules. Let's look at the Section 143 framework. Section 143 gives the central government sweeping legislative power to write the specific rules that keep this entire collaborative blueprint running smoothly. The number 14 here is super significant. This section outlines a massive list of at least 14 distinct rulemaking categories that the government manages. Now, reading them all out in a legal document can be pretty overwhelming, so we're going to break these categories down and visualize them to make everything really easy to understand at first glance.
What's fascinating is how easily we can chunk these 14 dense legal clauses into 3 highly logical pillars. First up, we have equipment and safety. This includes defining what harmful substances actually are, setting requirements for equipment construction surveys, and managing coastal dumping permissions. Second, we have paperwork, managing the exact types of certificates a vessel needs, how record books are maintained and disposed of, and how exemptions are granted. And third is oversight, which covers how incidents are reported, ongoing monitoring measures, and appointing specialized analysts.
Speaking of those analysts, let's zoom in on that oversight pillar for a second. Section 141 specifically gives the central government the power to, and I quote, appoint such persons as analysts for the purposes of incidents of pollution. These analysts are granted specific powers to investigate, test, and manage these pollution incidents effectively. They are literally the scientific backbone, keeping the entire system honest and accurate.
And working hand in hand with those analysts is the principle of constant vigilance. Section 140 perfectly rounds out this entire framework. It mandates that the government prescribe practical, ongoing measures to actively monitor, detect, and control pollution. Because the goal isn't just to scramble and clean up a mess after it happens, right? It's to detect it early and control it before it ever gets out of hand. So by transforming dense, complex maritime regulations into an actionable, bright, and collaborative plan, we really have to ask ourselves a vital question. How will these blueprints shape the future of our oceans? With clear rules, fair compensation, and a mandate for rapid response and constant vigilance, how will this clear blueprint for clean seas inspire the next generation of maritime innovation and environmental stewardship? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking for the structured solutions that make our world a better place.